we are coming to the next chapter, that is 7, the necklace. So here we can see a poor lady, but at the same time proud enough to stand along with those rich people, wanted to show off in front of the rich people that she is also a rich lady. That means looking back to his family, looking back to her family. Her family was an ordinary common family, but little bit wealth is there, not very wealthy, but they can afford, it is affordable. But married to a clerk who was not up to the richness. So she wanted to show that she is also a rich among the society, people who are of different people having rich wealth with them. Understood? For that, once she wanted to go, her husband was asked to go for a dance party, and she was, so he was invited. Special invitation was given to him, and thinking that his wife will be happy for joining the party, he asked her also to accompany for the party. But there she refused because she don't have jewels and costly dress to stand equal to those ladies who are coming from very rich family. For that, the poor man somehow managed to get a new dress, but for jewelry he was not able to. But seeing the sadness of his wife, he asked her to have help from her friend. So she goes to her friend and asked, and she had given her, and she had gone for the party, enjoyed herself, and then danced also. And while coming back, it was found her necklace which she had borrowed is lost. Now we will see how it was repaid and what trouble, how much trouble she had taken. That is the outline of the story, the necklace. The necklace. Matilda is invited to a grand party. She has a beautiful dress but no jewelry. She borrows a necklace from a friend and loses it. What appears in. So this is a story, what is being said in this title, necklace. What kind of a person is Madame Louise? Why is she always unhappy? What kind of a person is her husband? So here a husband and wife only, and how are they being in the home? Understood? And what is the nature of the lady and what is the nature of her husband? Going through the lesson. She was one of those pretty young ladies. Pretty, she is very beautiful and young, born as if through an error of destiny into a family of clerks. So due to her destiny, the fortune, she was married to a clerk. She had no dowry, no hopes, no means of becoming known, loved and married by a man, either rich or distinguished, and she allowed herself to marry a pretty clerk in the office of the Board of Education. She was simple, but she was unhappy. So she got married with a clerk, and he was a man who is not very rich or very poor, a middle class family, yes, a middle class family, or distinguished. He is not a well-known person. Nobody had made him famous, so he is not a famous person. And she allowed herself to marry a pretty clerk in the office of the Board of Examination. So that because she had no dowry and no hopes and at the same time she was also having no opportunity to become a famous lady in the society. But he was a loving husband. She suffered instantly, feeling herself born for all delicacies and luxuries. So all the time she is unhappy that she was born in such a manner. She suffered from the poverty of her apartment shabby walls and the worn chairs. So in the apartment where she is living, she don't have any kind of luxuries over there. No well furnished furniture. Nothing is there. Everything is in the poor stage. Shaggy, dirty, yes, dirty. All these things tortured and angered her. So seeing all these things which are not well furnished and no luxury, no sort of luxury is there. So seeing all this, she is getting more unhappy and at the same time angry towards everything. Understood? When she seated herself for dinner opposite her husband, who uncovered the tureen with a delighted air saying, "Oh, the good people, I know nothing better than that." She would think of elegant dinners of shining silver. She thought of the exquisite food served in marvelous dishes. She had neither frock nor jewels, nothing, and she loved only those things. So all the time when having food with her husband, she get anger when seeing the food being served in front of her. So she always thinks of those delicious food of where the rich ladies or the wealthy people having in their dinner dining table, or about their costly dresses or their expensive jewels. So all the time she is thinking only about all these luxuries. She had a rich friend, a schoolmate at the convent, who she did not like to visit. She suffered so much when she returned. She wept for a whole day from despair and disappointment. And sometimes she used to meet her classmate on the way whenever she is outside. Or sometimes maybe going to see her. But at the same time, when coming back, she is more angry and sad. Why? Because she could not compare herself with those wealth what her classmate is having. So all the time she feels disappointed. So she don't like to even see that schoolmate. On one evening, her husband returned elated, bearing in his hand a large envelope cover. Here he said, "Here is something for you." So one day while he was returning from his work, he had a cover in his hand and handing over to her, she said, "Here you are having a good news." She quickly drew out a printed card on which were inscribed these letters: "The Minister of Public Instruction and Madam George Ramport asked the order of Mr. and Mrs. Loisel's company Monday evening, January 15th at the Minister's residence." So, at the Minister's house there is an invitation party is there, and among those invited guests, that means all high dignitaries are being invited, along with them this Mr. Loisel and his wife also being invited. So it was a grand party of a grand wealthy person, and there these people of the common sector also is being invited, because he is having that much attachment to the high official. So he is also being invited. So he thought that his wife will be happy, so handed it to her. Instead of being delighted, after reading, instead of being happy, husband has hope, she threw the invitation spitefully upon the table, murmuring, "What do you suppose I want with that?" So she got angry. She threw that card on the table and said, "What I have to do with this letter?" "But my dear, I thought it would make you happy." So poor husband, he said, "After giving you and reading this, that means we are going and joining to a grand party, so you may feel happy. You never go out, and this is an occasion and a fine one. So all the time you are inside the house only. You have never gone out. So this is an opportunity for us to go and join with them." Naturally, everyone feels happy, isn't it? But she did not felt that. Everybody wishes one, and it is very selective. Not many are given to employees. You will see the whole official world there. That means in my office only, all the people are not being invited, only I am invited. So it is a great invitation for us, so it will be good for us to go and join him. She looked at him with an irritated eye and declared impatiently. So she is getting more impatient and at the same time angry, looking at him and said, "What do you suppose I had to wear to such a thing as that? That means we are going for a grand party, and what do you think I am going to wear for that?" So the grand, especially the high class people are over there, and can we go in our poor dress, isn't it? Because she don't have such a luxuries, costly, expensive, anything, isn't it? So she is asking, coming to that point, in what dress shall I go and join the party? That means all high class people are coming over there. He had not thought of that, he stammered. So he did not think about that. Why the dress you wear when we go to the theatre? So he had pointed to a dress that when we go for theatre you are wearing. Can't it be possible? It seems very pretty to me. That means it is very good. He was silent, stupefied in dismay at the sight of his wife weeping. She started crying. He stammered again. He said, "What is the matter? What is the matter?" So, hearing all that, he is finding some new dress of her and asking her that you can put on those, isn't it? But she started crying. And he asked, "What is the matter?" Poor husband, isn't it? He could not understand the mind of whom? The wife. What a violent effort. She became very angry, angrily, violently. She had controlled her vexation, controlled her crying, and responded in a calm voice, wiping her moist cheeks. "No, nothing. Only I have no dress and consequently I cannot go to the fair. Give your card to some college whose wife is better fitted out than me." So what did she say? "Now you take this card and go and give it to somebody of your friend whose wife is good enough to go and enjoy the party. I am not having anything. I am not a fittable person." He was grieved but answered. So he felt sad at the same time, but he answered. Let us see. Now when the card was given to her, she became very angry and asked that how she will go and join in that occasion, because ladies of the high families, wealthy families are coming over there, and how she can match with those luxury dresses, isn't it? And started crying. "Nothing, only I have no dress and consequently I cannot go to the fair." So what did she say? "I don't have any costly dress, so I cannot go for the party." Now you can give this card to somebody of your friend so that they can take their wife who is having a luxury dress. He was grieved but answered, but he felt very bad on that what his wife had said. He felt sad, but still he continued. Wanted to comfort here, isn't it? Let us see, Matilda. How much would a suitable costume cost? Something that would serve for another occasion. Something very simple. So what did he say? Okay, how much? An ordinary rate you can say. How much it costs for a dress. That means if any other occasion comes also, it will be easy for us to wear. She reflected for some seconds, thinking of a sum that she would ask for without bringing with it an immediate refusal and a frightened exclamation from the economic clerk. Finally, she said in a hesitating voice, "I cannot tell exactly, but it seems to me that 400 francs ought to cover it." So she said how much the exact cost she cannot say, because it varied from one dress to the other. So I cannot say how much fixed it is. But somehow it is about how much? 400. Somewhat it is about 400 francs. So a dress of 400 francs. He turned a little pale. That means he don't have that much money, so he felt sad. For he had saved just the sum to buy a gun that he might be able to join some hunting parties next summer with some friends who went to shoot larks on Sunday. Nevertheless, he answered, very well, I will give you 400 francs, but try to have a pretty dress. But he was having that much money in his hand for buying a gun. Why for buying a gun? He wanted to go with his friends on the next Sunday for hunting. For that he had saved little money, and that money was there, about the 400 is there. Now the wife had said that dress what she wanted, intend to buy, maybe around 400. So what did he say? Okay, I will give you the sum, you go and get a dress which is very pretty, at the same time suitable for the party. So now somehow for the dress he had managed. Now again comes the next problem. The day of the ball approached. Ball means here party. That means special dance party is called as the ball. Approached. Finally the day had approached, and Madame Loisel seemed sad. Still she was not happy. Now already the dress is there. She had complained about the dress, and somehow the husband had managed it. But still she was not happy. Again she felt something uneasy. Disturbed, anxious. Nevertheless the day is approaching. Her dress was nearly ready. Her dress was ready now. Her husband said to her one evening, what is the matter with you? You have acted strangely for 2 or 3 days. But he was noticing that even though the dress was ready, still there is something uneasiness in his wife. So he asked her again, what is the matter? And she responded, I am vexed not to have a jewel, nothing to adorn myself with. I shall have such a poverty-stricken look. I would prefer not to go to this party. So she said, okay, dress is there, but I had no kind of jewelry. So without jewelry, if I go, I will be looking like a poor starving family, a person from a poor starving family, and they will laugh at me. So it is better that I am not going for the party. So not only the dress, now second, what is the, yes, jewelry. He replied, you can wear some natural flowers in this season. They look very cute. That means they look very beautiful with a flower garland, isn't it? Instead of jewelry, you can wear flower garland. She was not convinced. No, she replied, there is nothing more humiliating than to have a shabby air midst of rich people. So she said, in the middle of the rich people, wearing flower jewelry and going, it is a greater humiliation, insulting for me. Then her husband cried out, how stupid we are. Go and find your friend Madame Forster and ask her to lend her jewelry. Now she will be going to Madame Forster. So he asked her that you are having a rich friend. Now just for a kind of jewelry, why you are crying? Just to go to her and ask the help. I had not thought of that. So she also became happy, and she said that, oh, I didn't think about her. The next day she uttered a cry of joy. It is true, he said, I had not thought of that. The next day she took herself to her friend's house and related her story of distress. Madame Forster went to her closet, took out a large jewel box, brought it, opened it and said, choose my dear. So the next day, now Madame Loisel was happy, and she said, okay, the next morning she went to meet Madame Forster, and there she did not say anything. She welcomed her and said, okay, you can come and choose according to your choice. And she started opening her jewel box. She saw at first some bracelets, then a collar of pearls, then a Vietnam cross of gold and jewels of admirable workmanship. So all kind of boxes are there, full of variety jewels. She was looking one after the another. She tried the jewels before the glass, hesitated, but could neither decide to take them or leave them. Then she said, have you? Nothing more. So many boxes were opened in front of her, and she was not satisfied with any one of those. Again she was asking Madam that whether you are having any other boxes with the jewels. Why yes, look for yourself. I do not know what will please you. Suddenly she discovered in a black satin box a superb necklace of diamonds. Her hands trembled as she took it out. She placed it about its throat against her dress and was exhausted. Then she asked in a hesitating voice full of anxiety, could you lend me this, only this? Why? Yes, certainly. So, after searching in many boxes, finally she found a diamond necklace, which seems to be super from compared to the other, isn't it? So she said, shall I have this diamond necklace? Then Madame Forster said, okay, you can have it. So fell upon the neck of her friend, embraced her with passion and then went back with her. So giving that necklace, she felt very happy, embraced, given a hug and she left. The day of the ball are now finally, dress is ready, now jewelry also is ready and now the ball day, party day had arrived. Madame Loisel was a great success because new dress and at the same time an expensive necklace. She was the prettiest of all, elegant, gracious, smiling and full of joy. So went to the party and she seemed to be the most prettiest woman of that party. All the men noticed her, everyone noticed her, asked her name and wanted to be presented. She danced with enthusiasm, with a great happiness, she danced with every person. Intoxicated with pleasure, thinking of nothing but all this admiration. Victory so complete and sweet of the heart. So it was a great life-long day occasion for that lady because she has been danced with the majority of the people who had gathered over there and all were, and she was the middle of all their admiration. She went home towards 4 o'clock. So now the party is over. By 4 o'clock everything was over. And the next morning started going back. Her husband had been half asleep in one of the little saloons since midnight because she was engaged in the dance and he was sitting in one corner and he was sleeping with the 3 other gentlemen whose wives enjoyed themselves because again there were 3 more men were there and all these 4 were sitting together and they were having a good sleep while their wives were enjoying the party. So early morning 4 o'clock. He threw around her shoulder the modest wraps they had carried, whose poverty glanced with the elegance of a ball costume. Then it was very cold and so he gave that warm cloth to cover her body. That warm cloth which he had already shows how much poor they are. Understood? She wished to hurry away in order not to be noticed by the other women who were wrapping themselves in rich fur. So she wanted to escape from that place before anybody noticed them because that dress what she was wearing was so admirable and elegant and over it the covering, the warm cloth what her husband has worn her shows how much poor they are. Shabby, isn't it? It looks shabby. So she wanted to run away from the notice of other women who are wearing costly warm dresses. Loisel determined her, wait, and he said, I am going to call a cab because they could not go fast. So he said, let me call the vehicle carriage. But she could not listen and descended the step rapidly, but she could not wait over there. She was in a great hurry too. Why was she in a great hurry? She did not want to get notice of the other rich ladies. When they were in the street, they found no carriage and they began to seek for one, hailing the coachman whom they say at a distance. So no vehicles were there, no carriages were there. So one was coming from a far distance and he managed to get that carriage. They walked along towards the river, hopeless and shivering. Finally, they found one of those old carriages that one sees in Paris after nightfall. Finally, after walking a long distance, they could find a carriage. He took them as far as the door and they went wearily up to their apartment. It was all over for her. And on his part, he remembered that he would have to be at the office by 10 o'clock. So the next morning, 10 o'clock, before 10 o'clock, he has to leave the apartment and go for the office. And now it is already late for them. She removed the wraps from the shoulders before the glass for a final view of herself in her glory. Suddenly she uttered a cry. Her necklace was not around her neck. So, before she could change her dress, once again she wanted to see how much beauty she looks, isn't it? So, she took off that warm cloth and just stood in the front of the mirror. It was a great shock for her. What was not there? The diamond necklace is missing. Loisel, already half undressed, asked, "What is the matter?" So he came running and asked, "What's the matter?" She turned towards him excitedly. I no longer have Mr. Foster's necklace." So she said that I could not find the necklace. He arose in dismay. He did not know what to do. How is that? It is not possible. That means how can it get lost, isn't it? And they looked in the folds of the dress, in the folds of the cloak, in the pocket, everywhere. They could not find it. So they started searching everywhere. Whatever dresses they were wearing, they looked each and everything. But the necklace was not found. He asked, "You are sure you still had it when we left the minister's house?" So he asked, "While we are coming, are you sure that it was there with you?" "Yes, I felt it as we came out." "But if you had lost it in the street, we should have heard it fall. It must be in the cab." So, while we are coming, if it had lost in the street, the sound we could have heard. But now, we did not hear the sound. So, it must be in the cab. "Yes, it is possible. Did you take the number?" "No, I know." "And you did not notice what it was?" "No." They looked at each other, utterly cast down. Finally, Loisel dressed himself again. So now, both of them did not know where it had been lost. And both looked disappointed. "I am going," he said, "over the track where he went on foot to see if I can find it." So he said, "Okay, let me go back and see up to the place where we had gone." And he went. He reminded in her evening gown, not having the force to go to bed. Towards 7 o'clock, her husband returned. He had found nothing. So by 7 o'clock, he came and he said, "I did not find anywhere." He went to the police and to the cab officers and put an advertisement in the newspaper offering a reward. She waited all day in a state of bewilderment before this frightful disaster. Loisel returned in the evening, his face pale. He had discovered nothing. So he had informed everywhere, but they could not get the necklace. Then he had to go to the work, and so he went, and the evening again came with the same mood. He was not having any notice about the lost diamond. He said, "Write to your friend that you have broken the clasp of the necklace and that you will have it repaired. That will give us time." So he said, "Okay, we can tell a lie to your friend, saying that the clasp of that necklace," clasp means hook, "it had been broken, so we had given it for repairment. So after 2-3 days, it will be given back." She wrote as he dictated. At the end of the week, they had lost all hope, and Loisel, neither by 5 years, declared, "We must replace this jewel." In a shop of the older by 5 years over, they were not able to give it back. In a shop of the Palace Royal, they found a chaplet of diamond, which seemed to them exactly like the one they had lost. It was valued at 40,000 francs. They could get it for 36,000. Now, instead of 40,000 francs, they would get for 36,000. So now they have to gather how many rupees? 36,000. Loisel possessed 18,000 francs with her father and left him. So now altogether in his hand he is having 18,000. He borrowed the rest. He made an unless promise, took money from ushers and the whole race of lenders. Then he went to get the new necklace, depositing on the merchant's counter 36,000 francs. So what did he do? At present he was having 18. Then he asked all the people whoever he could meet, having for high interest. He borrowed from each and every money lenders and he collected 36,000 francs. When Madame Loisel took place the jewel to Madame Foiseur, the latter said to her in a frigid manner, "You should have returned them to me sooner, for I might have needed them." Then they went to the jewelry, got the necklace, and she went to give it to Madame Loisel. Did not open the jewel box as Madame Loisel feared she would. What should she think if she would receive the substitution? What would she say? Would she take her for a robber? So Madame Foiseur did not open the jewel box when giving back. But same time Madame Matilda was frightened that if she had opened and if she had noticed that it was not her, she could have said that they were the robbers, isn't it? So she did not open the box. Madame Loisel now knew the horrible life of necessity. So that long 5 years she understood what is life. She did her part, however, completely heroically. It can necessarily to pay this frightful debt. She would pay it. They sent away the maid, they changed their belongings, they rented some rooms in an attic. So they started living a actual poor life now. Everything they lost because all the money, even what they had at the same time, what they had borrowed, they were not able to repay. For that they had struggled a lot. She herself has struggled a lot to collect this 36,000. She learned the oddest work of the kitchen. So before that she was not doing her work. Maid was there. Now she started doing the work because she was not able to pay for the maid. She washed the dishes, she washed the soiled linen, they closed and disclosed. When she hung on the line to dry, she took down the refuse to the street each morning and brought up the water, went for fetching the water also, stopping at each landing to catch her breath. Even though she was not 5 years, long years, struggled a lot. And clothed like a woman of the people, she went to the grocer, butcher and the fruiter with a basket on her arm, shopping, hanging the last soul of a miserable money. So with that money what she was having, she went to one shop to the other to buy her commodities for her yearning. Along with that sufferings, the whole suffer up to then what she had never experienced. Now she had experienced for how many years? 5 years. The husband worked evenings putting his books of some merchants in order, and night he often did copying at 5 cents a page. And this life lasted for 10 years. At the end of 10 years they were restored all. 10 years they were suffering, and all the extra works whatever he could do, he had done that in order to collect the money. Madame Loisel seemed old now. That too much work had made her seem old. She had become a strong, hard woman and crude woman of the poor household, like an ordinary woman. Her hair badly dressed, her skirt away, her hands red. She spoke in a loud tone and washed the floor with large pails of water. But sometimes when her husband was at the office, she would seat herself before the window and think of that evening party of former times, where she was so beautiful and so flattered. So sometimes all the time, the scene of that party was still in her mind. So when all her work was over, she used to sit by the side of the window and go back to those days, that one day, that particular party day, how much she looked, and how the people admired her. Later, not a single day had come like that. How would it have been if she had not lost the necklace? He knows how singular in life and how full of changes. how small a thing will ruin ourselves. That means even a small thing can destroy the whole life of anybody, isn't it? All luxuries, everything can be stopped with a small kind of work. One Sunday, as she was talking a walk in the Champa place to ride herself on the carriers of the week, she suddenly pierced means saw a woman walking with a child. It was Madame Forster, still young, still pretty and attractive. So one day she saw a lady walking with a child, and looking at her, she recognized it as a Madame Forster, and she could see her now so young, attractive and handsome. Madam Louiselle was affected. Should she speak to her? Yes, certainly. And now that she had paid, she would tell her all, why not? So now she thought now, at least now she will say her story. How much struggle she had taken to get her necklace back. The whole story she thought she will now reveal to Madame Forster. She approached her. Good morning, Jenny. Her friend did not recognize her and was astonished, surprised to be so familiarly addressed by that common name. Because only those people who are very near at her could know her pet name, isn't it? So when calling, she could not identify Matilda because of her appearance. She stammered, but madam, I do not know. You must be mistaken. No, I am Matilda Louiselle. So she said, I am not mistaken, I am Matilda. Her friend uttered a cry of astonishment. Oh, poor Matilda, how you have changed? That means that my change was seen in Madame Louiselle. Yes, I have had some hard days since I saw you, and some miserable ones, and all because of you. So she said, because of you, you are responsible for my all these changes. Because of me, how is that? So Madame Forster felt surprised to hear, shocked to hear that saying that I am responsible for your miserable condition. You recall the diamond necklace that you earned me to wear to the minister's party. So are you remembering about the diamond necklace which I had borrowed from you for the party? Yes, very well. Well, I lost it. How is that since you returned it to me? So she said, I had lost that. But Forster was saying, but you had returned it to me. I returned another to give you exactly like it, and it has taken us 10 years to pay for it. You can understand that it was not easy for us who had nothing, but it is finished and I am decently content. That means now I am satisfied because it took 10 long years for us, a family like us, in which condition where I am living. So a family like us, it took 10 years to give you that necklace back. So that long 10 years, you should understand how much I had suffered. Because it was a diamond, isn't it? Madame Forster stopped short, she said. You say that you bought a diamond necklace to replace it. So she said, now I could not believe that you are saying that you had given me a real diamond necklace in order to replace my older jewelry. Yes, you did not perceive it then. They are just like that. Means you did not understand. They both look like the same. And she smiled with proud and simple joy. Madame Forster was touched and took both her hands as she replied, Oh, my poor Matilda, mine was false. They were not worth over 500 francs. So finally she was saying, the diamond which I had given you, it was not even more than 500, it was less than 500, but you had replaced it for how many thousand? 36,000. But only the last moment, after 10 years struggling and buying and giving her, the last moment the lady is saying it was not the real diamond necklace. See how then Matilda had felt? You imagine how Madame Matilda had felt, because the condition of her at present, what condition she had been, and now after 10 years how much she had changed. So those changes were whose responsibility? Yes, it was a Forster's responsibility that had made her, but without knowing whether it was the real diamond or the unreal diamond. She did not think about it but suffered a lot. 10 long years, borrowed money from everywhere they could in order to replace it. And then also she did not reveal the truth. While giving also, she was not revealing the truth. She was having the fear that she will understand, isn't it? There also she had hidden the truth. But after that, she thought, okay, now the jewelry was given back and now let me say her how much I had struggled to get it. At that moment only she came to know the truth that it was not a real diamond. Understood? But do you think Foster was willing to give it to her? Will she give? You think about it and you think how the lady had felt. Understood? So now we come to the end of that supplementary lesson also. 4 questions are there. The course of the Louise's life changed due to the necklace. Then that means all the troubles she had taken in order to repay the necklace. Understood? What is the cause of Matilda's ruin? So what is the reason for that? That means she was not satisfied with what she had. She was only looking forward at the wealth and luxurious life, isn't it? So we should be satisfied with what we have. If we are having satisfaction with what we have, then all these ruins will not happen in the world. What would have happened to Matilda if she had confessed to her friend that she had lost? So what would have happened if she had said at the starting when she or the next day of the day when the necklace was lost? Sometimes maybe revealing the truth that it is not a real diamond, isn't it? Otherwise the lady must have said that you have to bring it in both ways. This much 36,000 will not come there, isn't it? If you were caught in a situation like this, that is left to you. So the answers will be sent to you and you can go through your complete all your notes.